back to my channel. Today I will be giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to, I guess, wean your child from 2 naps a day to 1. So whether they're a baby, toddler, or older, every child naps differently and has different sleep needs. And sometimes, like, as they grow older, then they obviously start needing less sleep, and a lot of times parents will want to start weaning their kids from 2 naps a day to 1 because their child is waking up often at night or waking up too early in the morning, etc. So the tips I'm going to be sharing with you are ones that I have tried and tested, and they worked well for us. And my son is a great sleeper. I have like no complaints whatsoever about him. So the first thing you want to do is look for signs. So every child's different, but at least for mine, he let me know he needed to go down to 1 nap a day when he started either waking up in the middle of the night or waking up too early in the morning, so 6 a.m. instead of 8, or just fighting me on his naps and resisting. Like, he did all of these things. So that was when I was like, okay, he needs to go down to 1 nap. So before I tell you what I did, I kind of want to tell you what his naps were like. So he used to take 1 nap around 10:30 a.m. and that was around 2 hours. And then he would take a second nap, I would say around 3:30, and that was 2.5 hours. So he did sleep quite a bit during the day. And then he would normally as well sleep anywhere from like 11 to 12 hours a night too. So he was getting a lot of sleep in, but then as he started growing, he just started, like I said, resisting his naps and like would scream when I put him in his crib when he never used to, or he just wouldn't sleep. Like, I would leave him in there for an hour and he still wouldn't sleep and stuff. So that's when I was like, okay, he needs to go down to 1 nap. So those were the signs that I looked for. Every child will be different. Sometimes you can tell too that, like, sometimes if a child misses their nap, they're like miserable and cranky, but then other times if they miss their nap and they're happy, that's a way to tell maybe, you know what, they don't need this nap, and you can save that like extra sleep for the nighttime. So those are just some things you can look for, and the signs, like I told you, that worked, that I noticed in my son, were that he just didn't want to take a nap, or he was waking up at night all of a sudden, or waking up too early in the morning. So I have my points on the computer, which is why I will be looking back and forth because I can't keep everything straight for the video in my head. But the next thing you want to do is just like look at your options and see every parent and every lifestyle is different. So making the switch has to work for your entire family. So if you try also to make a switch into 1 nap a day before your child is ready, he will be super cranky, super miserable, and it might just not go well. So you want to just, like I said, look for the signs and make sure he's ready. So basically you want to start there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either just limit it to 1 nap a day, or have 2 naps a day but have them shorter. So let's say your child takes 2 naps a day that are 2 hours each. You can limit the amount of time that they're sleeping, so maybe they take 2 naps still, but they're only 1 hour each now, or you can just eliminate an app. So do whatever works best for your family and of course your child, and obviously what time they wake up in the morning and they go to sleep and all that stuff. It just really depends. So yeah, like I said, to start in the morning, my child, and I did this for John, at 10:30 a.m. was his first nap. That nap, I didn't just cut it out. What I started to do was I would eliminate the time that he would sleep for that first nap. So the first time when he would sleep 2 hours, I'd cut it back to like 75 minutes. Then I'd go down to like, I don't know, 60 minutes, and 40 minutes, and 30. And then once I got to the point that it was at 30 minutes, like only half-hour nap, I just cut it out and he didn't seem to miss it. So that's one of the ways you can do it. And it worked out actually really well for him. The second thing that you want to then do is, if your child takes 2 naps a day, one's kind of in the morning and one's in the later afternoon, your child will be exhausted if you just cut out the first nap and make him wait all the way until the late afternoon to nap, because it just won't work. So what you then have to do is, once your first nap is cut out, you have to bring the second nap that, say, was at 3:30, bring that into the middle of the day so that he's not so exhausted. So instead of having my son nap at 3, I would then make him nap at 12:30, and he still does that to this day. He naps between 12 and 12:30. He goes to sleep, and he will sleep for 2.5 hours, sometimes 3, but I usually don't let him go over 2.5 if he's really tired, just because I want him to sleep at night still. But that's basically how you do it. So yeah, you just want to make the changes gradually. Like, don't just, cut out a nap or just go from 2 hours all of a sudden to like 1 hour, half hour, because your child will not respond well. I can promise you that. And it's just gonna, he'll still wake up at night, he'll still be stressed or grumpy, and it'll frustrate everyone. So yeah, just go make the change gradually. And go on your own time. So It can take you 2 months, it can take you a week. It just depends on you, your child, your lifestyle, and everything. So don't feel pressured by other people to be like, you know, moving quick, because every child is different. Yeah, so also if your child, if he shows that like randomly he'll fall asleep on the couch, like after you cut out that nap, and he looks like he's still so exhausted, what you can do is basically just try to like let him adjust. So what I did with my son was, he did still get tired. Like at 10:30 he still was like, oh, I want to sleep. So how I made him kind of hold off until 12 was, we had quiet time where he didn't have to be so like energetic. We would sit on the couch, we would read a story together, we would just paint or draw pictures, you know, just anything that would just keep him alert and awake, but not so like not making him feel like he always has to, you know, be moving around. He could just sit down and kind of just rest. And then after like a while, he kind of just like, as he got older, he kind of just started adjusting to his schedule, and he ended up staying awake great. But then now come 12:30, he gets like super tired, and he usually will just go up the stairs on his own and go to sleep. He still is in a crib, which we are transitioning to him in a toddler bed probably this month as soon as we get a mattress. But he'll just start going upstairs. When he goes up, I know he wants to sleep, so that's when I'll go put him in. But he's totally on his schedule now, and it works great. And he sleeps about 12 hours at night. We put him to bed at 8:30. He wakes up around 8, so it's like 11 and a half hours at night, and then he takes a 2 to 2.5 hour nap during the day. So that's ideal for a toddler. You would want them to just take one nap and then have their long stretch at night without waking up. So once you kind of adjust your schedule and do what works for you, whether it's 2 tiny naps or 1 big nap, whatever works for you, once you adjusted and, you know, got them, you know, kind of on a basic schedule, you just want to kind of smooth everything out and make them like completely comfortable with their new routine. So like I said, they're going to be a little bit sleep deprived, or they're going to want to, you know, just randomly fall asleep on your lap maybe or something. So I think it's like really important to just kind of like help him or her with their crankiness by giving them some quiet time in the time where they would normally have their nap, just so they don't feel like all of a sudden they're forced to stay like super awake this entire time. You know what I mean? Yeah, and just I want to put a tip. I know a lot of you kids, a lot of your children are in daycare. So if you're trying to adjust their nap, you know, while they're in daycare, make their routine align with what you would your routine with where you're home with them. So how do I explain that? If they're going to daycare, say in the early morning hours while you're gone to work or doing your shopping, then make their nap for when it's time for you to for them to be home with you. So you don't really want them having their nap at their daycare as much, because then you can control like the length of time that they're sleeping and like keep them on their schedule at the exact same time. A lot of times it's hard at a daycare when there's so many kids to get the kids down for naps at certain times and stuff. So when you like align their naps to be when you're home, so that you can put them to sleep, it'll just make your life so much easier, because you will I can't talk today. You will be able to control your own schedule, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you. Yeah, and if you really are not home all day, then you just talk to the staff at the daycare and tell them exactly what the schedule is and how you're easing their routine, and just have them, work with that child or with your child, and make the routine work. Yes, let's see, what else do I have? Oh yeah, and just one little tip. Once you while you're trying to get your child to adjust to his new schedule, make sure that you limit your activities and leaving the house, because you want them to form their new schedule and get it in their little body, their internal clock in their body. And if you're out while you're trying to train them on this new schedule and they miss a nap, or they get a longer nap, or they're at the wrong time that you want them, it's going to be so hard for them to adjust and stick to their schedule. So if you're staying at home this entire time, then you can make sure they're going to bed at the same time every day. There's no distractions and all that kind of stuff. So that will really help you get to your goal of where you want them to be napping and all that. So those are my tips. Those are worked for us really well. For me personally, I found that one nap worked a lot better than having two shorter naps, just because I found it so much better when he would take one nap, because I would get one long stretch where I could get a lot of cleaning done or complete an entire dinner, or meal prep or bake or something, versus him taking 2 small naps where I get like an hour each, because that really doesn't give you much time to do anything, and then you get interrupted when he wakes up. So that is what worked better for us. But of course, like, my son was happy with just 1 nap instead of 2 small ones. So try that out, and if your child, you know, doesn't respond well to that, then go for like the 2 smaller naps or whatever. So like I said, it's all based on you and your child and your lifestyle. Everybody's different. So yeah, I hope you guys found my tips again helpful. And if you're not subscribed, then click the subscribe button down below and help me out. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye!